You know, every year in January, the president addresses the American people on the state of our union. Washington on high alert, elected politicians all aflutter at the idea of being caught on camera, recognized on national television, each one holding on to the president's hand just a little longer than necessary in order to be identified and in the picture. I'm actually surprised the Capitol doesn't tip over with the weight of everyone pushing and leaning and shoving to get that quality airtime with the president as he descends into the well of Congress. The rest of us, well, we just sit back and enjoy the show. Now, in the days leading up to the State of the Union speech, the president previews themes of his speech. Word is this year it'll be about opportunity, action, and optimism. And on Tuesday, the president will tell you that he will work with Congress in a bipartisan way. He'll grow the economy, strengthen the middle class, and give us the economic security that we need. What's not to support in all of that? All of us want all of that. The problem? As a student of history, I know nothing portends the future more than the past. Remember this?
We are more than a collection of red states and blue states. We are and always will be the United States of America.
Let me ask you, does it feel that way? Are we united in our goals? Or are we at each other's throats at every turn, on every issue, turning even non-political issues into ideological political battles between Republicans and Democrats? You know, Mr. President, I want to believe that we can be united, but I know that history repeats itself. In fact, it seems to me that you dug your heels in even more after your re-election.
When it comes to negotiations, I've said I am happy to have negotiations with the Republicans, but we can't do it with a gun held to the head of the American people.
I will not negotiate over Congress's responsibility to pay the bills it has already racked up. I don't know how to be more clear about this. I will not negotiate over the full faith and credit of the United States.
And what was that you said about working with Congress?
I want to work with Congress whenever and wherever I can, but the one thing I'm emphasizing to all my cabinet members is we're not going to wait. I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and that's all I need.
Last week, Mr. President, you talked about limited government and following the Constitution. I suspect the Founding Fathers would find that somewhat disingenuous. Our government has never been bigger. And, Mr. President, I wanted to believe it when you said this last week.
The men and women of the intelligence community, including the NSA, consistently follow protocols designed to protect the privacy of ordinary people. They're not abusing authorities in order to listen to your private phone calls or read your emails.
But the truth, there are quite a few judges who disagree with you on that. And by the way, did you hear about your NSA officers? The ones that are using NSA resources to spy on their love interest and potential dates? Not to mention Edward Snowden. Now, I believe you when you said that I could keep my doctor and that I could keep my insurance. Ironically, in this week's in-depth New Yorker article and interview, you're shown to be on both sides of just about every issue, a real tightrope walker. You rail against the fat cat bankers. You support Occupy Wall Street, the hooligans. But who have you prosecuted? Who is in jail? You run as a pacifist. You accept the Nobel Peace Prize. Yet you command the longest war in American history, which people close to you say you don't even believe in. And who announces a surge and a withdrawal at the same time? Mr. President, you are indeed the master of contradiction. Now, we expect politicians to talk out of both sides of their mouths, but we don't expect it of our leader. We don't need a tightrope walker. We need a leader that we can both believe and believe in. So I'll be watching on Tuesday night, and I'm hoping that I can believe once again. And coming up, the president says smoking weed is no worse than drinking. So is the country going to pot? That's next. And vote in tonight's Insta poll. Is America more united or divided since President Barack Obama became the president? Facebook or tweet me at Judge Jeanine.